Hey, moon lovers. Welcome to another episode of All Things Moon, Lunar Wisdom for Everyday Life with myself, Kelly Jones. And I'm so sorry that I have been away for a couple of weeks. So I was away in the camper van over the Easter time. And as I have mentioned before, time seems to have gone quantum where days have become hours and hours have become minutes and minutes have become seconds. And here we find ourselves here, 2 weeks without a podcast episode. But we are at a new moon in Taurus, a time to slow right down. Ha! So hopefully that applies to time as well as ourselves. So I have been taking quite a bit of time this weekend to slow right down in between being busy. Um, so I've covered a couple of sound healing sessions at the yoga studio that I work at. And normally it's only an hour long. It's a class. It's part of the regular membership there on a Thursday and Friday evening. They have a candlelight sound healing session. So normally I would just take some singing bowls with me and a few chimes and bits. Nothing too elaborate because it's just for an hour. So not too much time to set up and set down. But this week I had the urge to take the Uranus gong with me. And it's very appropriate that we should be talking about Uranus. Not that Uranus is having a large part in this new moon in the aspects, but Uranus has been in the sign of Taurus for the past 7 years. Uranus is the revolutionary, it's the maverick, it's sudden, shocking change, it's electricity, it's the god of the air, it's futuristic. It's also to do with the collective consciousness. And come July 7th, which is my birthday, Uranus will finally be moving out of the sign of Taurus and into the sign of Gemini. And I really do think where we're talking about quantum, if we think it's been quantum in slow, ploddy Taurus, then wait until it enters Gemini. All things futuristic, we're already seeing them. So I was having a conversation in my class the other evening about the fact that there already is an AI chat tool, I think, that's like ChatGPT. I think it's Google's version, and it is called Gemini. So Uranus moving into Gemini, I'm absolutely certain that we have no idea how futuristic this is all going to become. And I would say, don't be scared of it. Embrace the bits that are useful and just leave the parts that aren't to others. Try not to focus on the negative side of what all of this futuristic stuff might bring, and look at what advantages there are for us in there. But yes, so I took the Uranus gong on Thursday. I left it in the studio because I was doing another one on Friday evening and did 2 amazing sound healing sessions. And I haven't sat in front of the gong for a few weeks now. So in the afternoon, I sat down and thought, I'm going to have a little practice. And I thought, I'm just going to do 10 minutes. And then I realized I'd been there, sitting there, playing it for like half an hour. And I needed to get up and get ready and put it in the car and go. And so then I did another hour's session on Thursday and another hour on Friday. So gong stoned is what we call it when you can't wake up in the morning. And Taurus season is very much about us honouring our natural rhythms and cycles. Well, my natural rhythm this weekend has been to be awake until 2 o'clock in the morning and to sleep until at least 8 o'clock the next morning. So this morning I woke up around about 9 o'clock, and I got up and come down to make my honey, lemon and ginger that I have every morning. And I'm also popping some fresh turmeric in there at the moment. Everything's organic, and the honey comes from local beehives. So putting some goodness in my body, a little bit of detox. So I've been adding in some dandelion tincture into that. And I've also been making dandelion tincture this weekend, which is something I love to do. So I've been giving myself some slow, restful time, because we were in a dark moon phase yesterday, and that's when the moon disappears and we don't see it, and everything's very dark in the sky. It's much darker at night, even though here in the northern hemisphere it's light until late now. So I definitely had to provide eye masks for the sound healing sessions for people because it was still so light outside. So yes, dandelions everywhere. It's dandelion time. And Tom keeps, because Tom's a gardener, he's very used to having to, take the dandelions before they turn to seed so they don't spread. So he keeps bringing them in from our own garden. And I've insisted that, he doesn't bring them all. He's got to leave some for the bees and the butterflies. But I had this big pot of dandelions, massive they were. So I ordered some organic vodka, and I've got all my jars ready, and I've got some dandelion tincture brewing now. So that will be in a dark cupboard for about 6 weeks, which is, I've kind of felt like putting myself in a dark cupboard for 6 weeks recently. And I'll be honest with you, I'm feeling a little vulnerable today. It's the energies that we've got going on should be lovely, peaceful, restful and slow because of this Taurus energy. The sun is in Taurus, the moon is with the sun in Taurus today. It's an exact new moon at 8:31 p.m. this evening UK time. But we have got some strong planetary aspects going on which are coming in to be a little bit more disruptive than we would like this period of time to be. So I've had angry relationship things going on this week. I'm not going to bore you with all the details, but let's just say it's been emotional. And I've got my tangerine quartz on today. Look at that, this massive tangerine quartz, which helps to absorb a little bit of if you're feeling a bit traumatized. And I have been feeling a bit that way this week. So particularly in the last few days, Tom has gone to his parents for a couple of days to see his family. I've stayed at home, partially because I have work to do, but it's what we need to do. We need to be apart from each other and have a little think about where we're going, because the energies that have come up are, if you have got any relationship stuff going on, there's no getting away from it. You can't put a plaster on it. It is the boiling point. It's the bursting of the boil. In fact, a friend of mine has actually got an abscess on her leg. And she said, like, it literally feels like that is about to burst. So we've got some literal physical manifestations of that going on. I actually had a big a big boil on the end of my nose this week. It didn't burst. It's actually disappeared because I've got amazing magical potions I can put on there. But you catch my drift. That's this all these retrogrades that we've had, the eclipse season that we've just had. We're still integrating and feeling everything that was brought up for us to deal with and to not ignore. So I'm having a mushroom coffee to help keep me focused. So I'm having trouble. So if I'm a little bit clunky today, I do apologise. It's been a couple of weeks. I feel like I've never done a podcast before and this is my first time again. the age of, it's the end of innocence is one of the things that I've heard about this period of time that we're in. So I feel like a little bit like I'm losing my podcast innocence. And key words that I have got. So I've got my notes in front of me here, so I don't forget to let you know what's going on. So key words that I have put down is grounding. So this morning when I woke up and I had my hot water with lemon and ginger and turmeric and honey, I went out into the garden just to check all the seedlings that are in the greenhouses out there. And it's very warm here today, so I had to open them up and give them some air. And I had some bulbs outside in a bucket that one of the gardens that we work in, the guy there, he only wants purple, blue and white flowers in his garden, and some of his hyacinths this year had come up pink, and he doesn't do pink. So he asked us to dig them up. I've told you this before, we've got quite a few clients that just ask you to dig things up. So I've got some tulips just about to die and fall to bits in a vase there, same situation. We had to dig up flowering tulips. The hyacinths had finished flowering, but this morning I looked in the bucket and my urge was to put my hands in the soil. I actually picked up my gardening gloves and then I thought, no, I need to put my hands in the soil. And in fact, I ended up with my feet covered in soil, my hands covered in soil. But the urge to do that was very strong. I needed that. I had the sun shining on me. I can hear the birds out there. There's some baby birds appearing in my neighbour's garden. And that helped me to center myself before I come to talk to all of you guys out there, all my lovely moon lovers. Integration. So as I said, nothing is retrograde now. All the major planets are moving forwards, but that's only just. So we're still really just coming out of that shadow phase from where a planet slows down, stations, and then starts to move again. And we get those giant waves happening as they start to move back out of port and get on their way. I could say that on Tuesday, I felt very joyful, and I said to my Pilates class in the evening, oh, do you know what? I really do feel like Mars has finally moved into Leo and out of the sign of Cancer. But of course, everything that, as we know, it's been in the sign of Cancer pretty much for about 6 months. It was retrograde for a long period of time. So it's only really just moved on. So I'm only just starting to feel the lightness of Mars moving out of the sensitive sign of Cancer, out of the emotional waters. But also, of course, we've now got that integration of everything that we might have learnt and had to learn, the healing of wounds, the realizations that we have, the epiphanies that we have during that time. So Taurus season is all about slow growth, about nourishment, about roots, so about blossoming. So the apple tree in my garden is blossoming right now. It's also about consolidation. The Sabian symbol for this moon, so the moon is at 7 and the sun are at 7 degrees of Taurus, 7 degrees of the sign of Taurus. So Sabian symbols are, I think it was in the 1920s, don't quote me on that, but anyway, a psychic, she gave a symbol to every single degree of the zodiac. And the Sabian symbol for 7 degrees of Taurus is a woman of Samaria comes to draw water from the well. the gaining of perspective by a return to ancient sources of being. So obviously, one of our most ancient sources of being is the earth. It's the roots in the earth. So I was just literally planting bulbs into the ground and having to clear some roots that were in the way, because we've got a few things that are a little bit abundant out there in the garden. I'm actually going this afternoon to go and collect water from the natural spring over in Danbury. So I literally will be like the woman of Samaria, coming to draw water from the well. From that water that from that spring comes from deep down, a really, really long way down under the ground. The water there used to supply the whole area, but now it's just disused copper piping, and that water is constantly flowing, pure water. And I know lots of people that go there and bless the water. I've actually been there to do a blessing for my friend's baby there, and it's the water that we drink here, all our animals drink. So new moons are a time for new beginnings. They're a time for manifestation, for writing down your wishes. And we have got some energies here that really match that as well, particularly Venus, because Venus is all about our values, but all about our desires. What do we want? What do we desire? Venus is the ruler of Taurus. The moon is exalted in Taurus. Venus is actually traveling along and conjunct with Saturn at the moment. So committing to our desires, committing to our values, committing to what we want, being mature and realistic about those things. That's what Saturn's going to bring. But also Venus and Saturn together will be bringing up this relationship stuff as well. So the sun left Aries on the 19th of April and entered the sign of Taurus, and will be in the sign of the bull until May 20th. So we've got a nice, long, slow, ploddy energy for growth coming up. And hopefully the sun will keep shining like it is today. I do believe it's going to be very warm here this week. With Venus being the ruler of this moon, not only are we being called to honour our natural rhythms and cycles of our bodies, but also to be grateful for and notice the abundance of beauty that there is during this season of slow growth. My favourite hashtag is stop and notice. And I really encourage you to do that. A new moon is a time for slowing down, for resting, and to stop and notice how you feel. In Strala Yoga, that's what we're going to be saying to you all throughout class. Stop and notice how you feel. Because when we ignore how we're feeling, these boils come up. Yep, they come up to say, look, there's some toxicity going on. You need to purify, you need to cleanse, you need to heal, you need to notice yourself and what's going on around us. So there's lots of things out there in the world that we're noticing that are at a boiling point. This toxicity out there in the world, what can we do so that we can contribute towards the cleansing of that? And we can only do that in ourselves, can't we? So we're being really invited to slow down and be more intentional about how we support our physical body. It's a time for a fresh start. So fresh vegetables, fresh fruit, fresh food to nurture and nourish ourselves. A chance to pause and reflect and contemplate. You know, how can we make our lives better? How can we feel better? Unfortunately, though, as I said, we've got these energies that could be causing quite a bit of frustration to rise to the surface and burst. So Taurus is a fixed sign, but we've also had this week the sun in Taurus fixed, in a T-square to Mars in Leo fixed, and Pluto in Aquarius fixed. So that T-square was a very rigid, very strong. The sun is it's our essence of who we are, but it's egoic. It's about authoritarian kings and leaders, male leaders, fathers. And we saw the death of the Pope. In ancient times, these are the symbols that they would be looking for. They would notice that these kind of energies, it is more likely to have these kind of occurrences happening. So that very strong. So as soon as Mars moved out of the sign of Cancer and into the sign of Leo, it was directly opposite Pluto. We've got an exact opposition today between Mars and Pluto, the sun and the moon. So be gentle with yourself. You know, it couldn't have been Tom going away to his parents wasn't actually out of us having relationship difficulties. He actually pre-planned this because he wanted to go and spend some time with his dad doing practical things that sons and fathers do together. So he's actually doing that, and that's really good for his well-being. So it's been very good for my well-being to be able to be at home by myself, nurturing myself, doing the things that bring me joy, like making dandelion tincture. So also this week, we have had Venus, the ruler of this moon, conjunct Saturn. They're still swimming around together in the emotional sign of Pisces, which is represented of the end. It's the end of the zodiac, before they both move into the sign of Aries. So Venus will go first and Saturn will be moving into the sign of Aries on the 25th of May. So another significant shift in energies, because Saturn has been in the sign of Pisces for the past couple of years. So it will be then in the sign of Aries for the next couple of years. So we've got all these very huge shifts and changes of energy. Apparently, Venus and Saturn conjunct each other with the waning crescent moon. I think that was on Thursday, maybe. It looked like, if you could actually see that in the sky, it looked like a smiley face with the crescent moon under the two planets above, like two little eyes. So at least it wasn't a sad face, it was a smiley face. But, you know, in more general terms, as I said, it's about committing to what you want, having some restraint and some maturity. Saturn can be about limiting, but it's good to have a little bit of restraint rather than going full gung-ho, because once we're in Aries is headstrong and just goes for it without thinking first, just goes steaming in. So this is giving us a time to, you know, Taurus season, slow down, nurture ourselves, consider what we want with some maturity. Not self-limiting beliefs. Let's work on those. Let's allow ourselves to dream in this sign of Pisces. We've got Neptune in Aries, so the dream can take action. Also, Saturn is about consequences. It could be the beauty of spiritual discipline or commitment to a love that is more about romance, almost like a higher calling. But they're also aligned next to the North Node, which is the sign of destiny. Karmic possibility is much stronger If you've been doing the work for your personal growth, then this would be a good opportunity at this time for those things to happen, to be fertile, to be fertilized. Taurus is about fertility. If the North Node is in Pisces, then the South Node is in Virgo. And the eclipse that we had in March in the sign of Virgo was asking you to do the work. So Venus and Saturn in Pisces are pushing you to explore the deeper, more vulnerable side of love. Issues of around trust, around your shared resources. You know, my life story, my plot line is set in the 8th house of shared resources, of money with others. It could be issues around intimacy that could surface in your relationships. These energies could be very drama, Mars in Leo, or this fixicity, Venus and Saturn together in the emotional sign. So if drama is showing up for you, it's because you need it in some way. Even if you're thinking, oh, I don't want all this drama, that would be me. I don't want all this drama, this anger that's coming up, but it's in my world. The moon is a mirror. So if there is conflict, you know, your loved one could start to feel like your enemy, this plutonic Mars aggression that we've got going on, this fixed energy of not budging. But, you know, relationships are mirrors. So I've taken some time to look at myself in the mirror. What part am I playing in this? What can I do to help this situation? Is it because when we get so dramatic and so emotional, that's the moment that we feel most connected, that we want to connect with each other again, instead of during the mundane time when, you know, we might not feel so connected. So, you know, all interesting things to ask ourselves. So I know that this particular alignment is showing up in the 4th house. So, you know, Venus and Saturn for both Tom and myself is in our 4th house. The 4th house is known as the mama, the mother. It represents home, family, roots, and emotional foundations. I find myself home alone, and he's at home with his family. The 4th house, Venus and Saturn there, it could be examining your upbringing, the nature of your relationships with your family, your personal sense of security. It signifies parents, particularly the mother. If you join my moon ceremony this evening, if you get to listen to this in time, if you're joining me, we will be looking at what house area this new moon will be showing up for you. So this new moon is showing up in my 6th house. And that is our day-to-day mundane things, but also health and well-being. It's being of service. It's that mundane day-to-day routines area of life. Is that where this is showing up? How can we renew? How can we nourish? How can we nurture? How can we grow around that our everyday? And that is where things have been showing up in my world. So we can have a look at the moon ceremony at where it might be showing up in your world. If you can't make it to the online ceremony live, then there will be a recording. So if you send me a message, I can just send you the payment link and you can receive the recording and you can spend some time in the next couple of days. The energy is still there, so you have plenty of time to sit and do your own new moon ritual. What else can I tell you? So, a strong desire for transformation right now with these intensifying tensions, the resistance to change, but it's necessary to evolve and grow going forwards with all these big shifts, this new era that we are stepping into. This opposition of Mars and Pluto is emphasizing our need to break free from outdated emotional patterns, anything that we're attached to that no longer serves our growth. Okay. But ultimately, from my point of view, this is a time to really cultivate some self-trust, self-love, prioritize and value ourselves. So in this relationship difficulty that I've been having this weekend, I sent a message to Tom saying, no matter what the outcome, self-love needs to be first, because really underneath it all is just love. So I've got my new moon candle burning here, and this candle somewhere down the bottom of here is some lovely crystals, but you have to burn it all the way to the bottom to get the crystals out. It smells amazing. I've also got Mother Earth sitting here with me, representing. We've had Earth Day this week, but every day is Earth Day. Taurus is an earth sign, represents the earth, food, money, body. Moon represents our physical material bodies as well. Moon in Taurus, very, very physical, sensual, all about our senses, tuning in, noticing how we feel with all of our senses, not just our physical ones. So I have got the Kyle Gray Angels and Ancestors Oracle cards here because they always feel very earthy to me, to do with our roots, our ancestors. And I thought I would just see what the Oracle has to say for us all. What do we need collectively and individually to know right now? So I've got lots of other offerings coming up. So if you do live locally, I am doing the Yoga Wild Woman Retreat, which is the 16th to the 18th of May, over in Sawbridgeworth at Redwicks Lakes. Me and my friend Natalie, who are doing our Lunar Flow half-day retreat on May the 25th, that has sold out completely. So some wonderful people I'd like to give a shout out to. Sharon Lynn from Mystic Mouse has given us some amazing notebooks to put in our goodie bags. They're absolutely beautiful. I haven't got one here to show you, but I will do a post on my socials so that you can see those amazing notebooks after the lunar retreat. And my friend Cheryl Taylor has hair and skin clinic, hair and skin solutions. She's given us loads of amazing samples, and I have to shout out to her that she is a trichologist, and I use her hair products. And after a long period of time of having a traumatic few years and menopause, my hair did get very, very thin and my hair was falling out a lot. And as you can see, my hair is back. It is in so much better condition. So thank you so much, Cheryl, for that. And I will put the links to those people's in my show notes as well. So you can go check them out. And look at what card came out. Look. I love this. Look. The Mother Earth card. What can I say? You just can't write this stuff, can you? So the Mother Earth card, I will actually have to put my glasses on. I've been trying to go without my glasses because I get fed up having to have them on. And we get the ring light glare and all of that. Feel loved and comforted. And if I put this up to the screen, you can see that she's got that lovely new moon there. Look how symbolic that is of this new moon. How beautiful is that? I'm not sure that we even need to look in here to see what it means for us, but I will do that because I know some of you will want to know. So it's the Mother Earth card that has come out. If you're just listening on audio, sorry if you can't see it, but it definitely did jump out. On my YouTube channel, by the way, when I post my podcast onto Spotify, it automatically posts out to YouTube as an audio, but I do load up the video version as well manually. I do that manually. So you can go and see the lovely card if you want to, because people have complained before that they can't see the cards. So the message is allow yourself to be cherished. Mother Earth is protecting you with a shield of love and light. Mother Earth is the female counterpart to Father Sky. It's auspicious to receive this card because in the eyes and heart of Mother Earth, you are her child. And she is highly protective of her baby and will give you everything you need to grow and expand. Mother Earth is only covered by leaves in this card, showing the vulnerability of the earth. And, you know, I've been feeling like this myself. I feel like my Cancerian shell has been a little broken and my flesh has been exposed. So we're lucky that the sun is shining here onto our flesh. Every day she experiences challenges that she has to adapt to and overcome. Her energy, represented by the symbol of the pagan triple goddess, maiden, mother, and crone. Gosh, I'm a crone now. Behind her can help you adapt as the changes of life come your way. So if I hold that up again, then you can see the maiden, mother, crone symbol. The extended message is you may have felt overwhelmed or out of control emotionally recently. Oh my gosh, it's so true. But you are now moving back to your natural center, putting my hands in the earth. And that will bring you to a place of clarity and openness. Oh, and I just want to give another shout out to the word clarity has reminded me that my friend Georgie Dane did a Humana distance healing session with me 3 weeks ago. And the intention of that was to receive clarity. And she said it would take a couple of weeks to integrate, but actually it's this third week of Taurus season with all these alignments that clarity has arrived for me. So thank you so much to Georgie. I'll put her details on there as well. Humana healing. But it works on your upper chakras up here, not in your physical ones. So if you have felt ungrounded, know that Mother Earth is here to root you and help you regain your sense of strength. You may not feel like a child, but in the eyes of the divine, you are a child of light, and it is important to know that and feel loved. If you have had challenges with your mother or with being a mother yourself, or even mothering yourself, know that the energies of mother healing are with you to help clear any ancestral blockages that are preventing you from making this sacred love connection. You are being guided to make choices that are based on love. And with that strong Venus energy, that is absolutely the truth. So commit to that. Use that Saturn energy to be realistic, but commit. And also, just so you know, this new moon is opposite Lilith in the sky today. So watch the sharp tongue. Be careful what you say. Okay, I'm going to go now. I hope that has served you in some way. And back to weekly podcasting now. So lots of self-love, new moon blessings to you, and I'll see you all next week.